Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Steven here, Three Swords Productions with Alex. How you
So,
doing, Alex?
doing pretty good.
You ready for this Whitebeard versus Smoker gameplay?
Yeah, I don't see a lot of that matchup, so I'm interested to see who comes out on top.
That's awesome because when the format first started, I thought Smoker was going to be everywhere. I thought it was going to be challenging and contesting Whitebeard all over the map. But as the format evolved and I actually see tournament reports, we don't actually see a lot of Smoker out there. Why do you think that? What do you think? What's up, man?
Discarding cards to remove cards. That sucks.
You think because it's like all 2-for-1s that it's like no good?
Yeah, Don minusing for purple is not nearly as big of a deal. Plus, purple has a card that ramps a Don. Black doesn't have cards that replenish the cards you discard in your hand.
Whoa, Kuzan would beg to differ, but I know
Oh,
it's kind of a different
yeah.
thing. Yeah, not
Well,
quite.
not a card that does it every turn, I should
Yeah,
say.
not quite. Not unless you're playing against Dofi or Volkov to put it back in your hand every turn.
Yeah, because ironically, the Animal Kingdom arena that ramps you a Don every turn to make up for all the minusing, but there's no Marine Ford arena to draw you a card for all the cards you're discarding.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Onigashima being like a 3-drop stage card that we don't have anything even comparable to for black is definitely punishing. Yeah, I think Smoker falls under the same pitfalls that Purple did in set one, right? It doesn't have any searchers,
Yeah,
so
no
it's
searcher, no
actually
ramp.
you could just draw like a weird portion of your deck. But when you're Sakazuki, when you're playing Kuzan, when you're playing Kobe, it feels so oppressive for your opponent that you know, when Kaido got to do its thing, Kaido was awesome, and when Smoker gets to do its thing, Smoker's awesome. So, I'm still waiting for that Smoker deck to really pop off. But all right, we're gonna check out how this Smoker performed against Whitebeard. You ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
I'm ready too. Let's go. All right, so it looks like we have a good old-fashioned Smoker versus Whitebeard here, and Whitebeard forgot how to shuffle and dropping cards all over the map.
Yeah, you hate to see when your opponent drops your deck.
Well, you hate to see it, but if you're the Whitebeard player, you love to see exactly what is in their deck when it drops by accident. Okay, so open up with the guard point and Nami, so we're definitely going to keep that. We have defense for late game and the Nami for very early game. So Whitebeard goes second if they win the die roll, right?
I think you almost never want to go first.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty typical at this point. Smoker starting with 5 life. That's actually a big improvement. Now, if you guys have seen other videos from the channel, you'll notice Chad is actually piloting Smoker in this video. Chad is the guy who engineered the GARP deck list that did pretty well for us. So he is probably not used to playing with 5 life. He's usually ready for 4. Nice
Yeah, you
change
just
for
gotta
him.
ask yourself, is one life worth not playing a whole color? And sometimes it is.
Yeah. Well, GARP being a kind of a weird combination of black and red, which don't exactly complement each other. Chad actually found success with that deck by the red is all defensive cards, so Radical
Yeah, I
Beams,
mean,
2K counters.
if a life is just a card in your hand, basically, then if the red package is drawing you cards through Nami and saving your life through choppers, then yeah, it kind of makes up for the life.
Okay, we're gonna see Whitebeard go for 6K swing on turn 2 here. Pretty aggressive actually, saying, yeah, Smoker, you might get me in the late game, but you got to get to the late game first. So
True.
we're gonna see very aggressive start here. 6K
Oh,
and a 5K. Wow, what is that?
really
Okay.
trying to get value for the Nami.
Trying to get cards out of our opponent's hand, saying, yeah, Sakazuki is great, but it costs you a card, you got to discard for it. Kobe's good, you got to discard for it. So we're going to contest that. That is a very interesting way to play the game. And Kuzan coming down, solid 5K body. It's going to draw him a card, replenish some of the things he just lost. And we drew Nico Robin for the turn. Okay, we also have some rushers in our hand too, so that's actually pretty powerful. We already see a 5-drop Luffy gonna be able to close the game out faster than our opponent can predict. And we're seeing 7K come across. We are really playing into that 5-drop Luffy. We have 4-cost Luffy coming down, holding Guard Point, holding Radical Beam, holding Nico Robin, Otama. We've got some 2Ks.
Yeah, that
Got some
4-drop
event
is not
cards.
long for this world, if I had to guess.
Well, we can see the Sakazuki in hand already.
And that Luffy's looking juicy.
And we're kind of playing around the character destruction as well by swinging with our leader aggressively and all of our characters aggressively.
Yeah, the way to play around the removal is if you had Rush. But obviously, it's not like Zoro, or even Zoro now is less Rush than it was in set 1. So it feels bad when you don't attack with something and then it just dies. You don't get any value.
Okay, marking the amount of cost reduction that has happened already. So now Luffy is a 0 drop for the rest of the turn because Kuzan swung, if you are wondering what the dice is for. And now Smoker ability has ticked that down to, it's already a 0 cost, but he gave it a -1 reduction on top of that. I'm not sure the official ruling on that. Let us know in the comments if you know if Luffy can become technically a -1 cost. And we are just swinging aggressively at the Whitebeard life as well. We're going to Meteor Volcano.
Yeah, he's holding on to the Sakazuki.
Now, do you like that? I think I would prefer to just Sakazuki it.
I would
establish the
actually,
body.
yeah, I would agree the body.
I think
but
he-
this lets him ruin your Whitebeard curve.
Right, like he was valuing swinging for 8 on that turn over the Sakazuki. I think I would personally prefer to play the Sakazuki, just establishing another character that.
Yeah, he would have one more turn
Mhm.
to take you to 0 before you get a chance to play Whitebeard.
Right.
But you know, this is a line.
I am a big fan of swinging for 8 to pressure the Whitebeard's hand earlier than turn 9 Dawn. Going to discard 2 cards out of his hand to protect from that 7K swing. And we were just putting Rush Luffy on the table and swinging. Kind of exposing it to the Sakazuki. So that I think in some ways that actually rewards holding the Sakazuki back. Meteor Volcano would have had a harder time contesting this Luffy, where because he held the Sakazuki back, now he's going to have it for this Rush Luffy. That's actually pretty clever.
Actually, wouldn't have, because if you remember, he made Luffy even weaker, or he minus Luffy past 0. So a Kuzan swinging and then Smoker minus would still take that Luffy if I drop Luffy to 0.
Very true.
And the kill spell only requires a 1-drop.
Smoker has aggressively countered out of things up to this point. So I believe that was a 7K swing on the Kuzan itself, and Smoker counter out of it, keeping the Kuzan, which makes sense. You know, it is the biggest source of cost reduction in the deck, so it makes sense to try and hang on to it. We're actually holding a couple of blockers in our hand, preparing for the late game here. We are at 0 life, so things are getting a little bit dicier for us. This is Strawbeard, not Boatbeard, so going to 0 life is actually kind of dangerous for us.
And you're tapped out, but I assume you were prepared for a 13K swing.
I was. Don't really not a huge
there
fan
he
of
goes.
not a huge fan of putting that Luffy on the table so early. I'm not entirely sure what the thought process behind that was. I believe swing 7K on the Kuzan, swing 7K on the Kuzan, try and get it off the table, and then we can protect our life from Smoker only having 1 character on the board.
Yeah, so it looks like he did decide to all in.
Yep, very aggressively.
Get all those counters out.
Yeah, very aggressively protected the Kuzan. Still at 3 life, so it's going to be very hard for us to kill him this turn. So we're going to need to be able to kill the Kuzan and then also deal at least 1 point of damage here. We're holding a second Luffy. That's helpful. Okay, 7K on the Kuzan. It's going to be really hard to continue discarding 2 cards every turn. And 7K at lead. We're down to 4 cards in hand. And that makes 5.
Yeah, it was tempting while you were tapped out to all in.
Yeah.
But I probably would have liked just a 10-drop Kuzan or something coming down.
Something to kill the Luffy and then also pressure face would have been great. Just make me start my turn without that Luffy would have been really incredible. And we're gonna play Nami and add Nico Robin to our hand. That's actually the second copy of Nico Robin. We're considering just dropping both of them. We also have 2 blockers in hand. Not for nothing. We are super vulnerable, and we're just going to play both blockers and hope that's enough. Now, we did deal the damage. We are holding another Luffy. So as long as this Luffy survives, we are actually pretty comfortable.
Yeah, I feel like the game state's completely changed. Um, the scary thing is if you try to all in Whitebeard, you're not playing characters, and so if you
Mhm.
fail,
That's it.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're like a turn behind basically. And now that he saw you play double blockers, he's probably regretting his decision.
Yeah, we are down for 1 single turn, and now we're actually very strong again. In hand is Radical Beam and Guard Point that we opened with, as well as second copy of Nico Robin and Rush Luffy.
But that's classic Whitebeard, and he baits you into all inning too
Yeah.
soon.
Now, one thing to note here, we are actually very, very weak on counters in hand, so we're actually going to be hiding behind these blockers pretty hard. Okay, going to 10 Don, and drew a 4-drop Luffy. So, let's go. We're going to go 5k here, swing and face, see if he takes. And he should protect himself. Okay, so we see the blocker come down to protect life. And we're going to swing 7, definitely take that one. We are at limited number of attacks this turn, so I think that one's pretty safe to take. And we're probably going to establish the 4-drop here and save our Rush Luffy for next turn. Another thought process is just holding Luffy back in hand as another counter piece. We go 5k. I like that attack. We have the extra Dawn. We're not committing Luffy this turn. And we only need 2 Dawn to protect ourselves. So I do like that 5k swing. Gets a card out of his hand with otherwise wasted Dawn. I like that. We only need 2. So we're going to establish Nico Robin actually instead of the 4-drop. Now, that one's a bit questionable. We could have actually probably just held open single Radical Beam instead of Radical Beam and Guard Point, but we're super worried about 2 removal spells on the...
Yeah, you've seen him run the kill spell that kills 1-drops.
Yeah. Single removal spell would be really powerful, especially if it's cheap. But then 2 removal spells would be so backbreaking. And we're actually counter light from the 2Ks. Because 2 of our cards are events. 1 is a card that does not counter at all. So it's a little bit dicey for us. So I can respect holding event cards back in hand. We're going to swing. That should be an easy block here. If we get an event out of that, actually, it could be really strong. And we are going to event out and counter out. Okay, now he needs... now he would need 2 removal spells in order to break through to our life. I do like that. And we're still thinking, hey, we probably win on our turn through our board and Rush Luffy. Sakazuki going to come down and take out a Nico Robin.
I thought he was going to go this whole game without playing that Sakazuki.
The discipline Chad had in this game to hold that Sakazuki back is actually really, really incredible.
And I don't think it was correct.
May not be correct, but certainly this turn he's got a Kuzan established, he has a Sakazuki established, and he has 2 Dawn open.
Also, all these beautiful black alt arts. Where's the alt art smoker? Someone get him an alt art smoker.
Someone offer this man a trade. Okay, we're going to go 7k with the Nico Robin. Counter out. Now, should that have been a 9k attack?
Yeah, if black holds up 2 down, it's impact wave.
Right. And we're going to 7k again. And we're basically, if he counters out of this, we just lose.
And he knows what's coming.
He's going to take it.
Oh.
Oh, that is
the
brutal.
trigger.
Yeah. That's really powerful. And we're going to go 7k, and it comes down to this. Can he get out of it? And he can. Okay, so that is the game. That impact wave, I think, actually exactly did it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a close game. I did not think the smoker was going to win, but it did.
Sakazuki to get out of The other blocker is really clutch. And then the impact wave off life took out the Nami. Otherwise, all down would have gone on the Nami swing.
What would the Nami's power have been?
I believe that was 5 for the Luffy, 1 for that. It would have been 8K.
Yeah, he still had double 2Ks.
Double 2Ks, okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Namis are not as strong as in Zoro.
So if we
You
swing.
can still run Makino in Whitebeard, but
So the question has to be asked then: do you swing 9K with the Nico Robin instead to play around the shockwave that is pretty obvious he's holding?
yeah, I mean, he had 8K counter power in his hand, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, maybe if you had used the chopper blocker sooner, saved a life. You then again, you were at 0 for a long time that game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, impact wave makes you scared to hold up small blockers. I mean, even big blockers, because impact wave hits 4 drops and lower,
Yeah.
and it's just like a jet pistol. Really good at really good trigger.
Okay. Yeah, definitely a game where it looked like Whitebeard was winning pretty hard and then just kind of swung it there at the very end.
Happens. One
Yep.
Piece.
All right, guys. Well, if you're still watching, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like on the video. Leave us a comment if you would have played this game differently, and if you want to see more games played by the guys here at Three Swords Productions, be sure to click the link on the pop-ups right now. Thanks.